What's going on, everybody? Good evening. We're pushing back the PFF defense video until later tonight. Going to upload sometime around 8 o'clock, 2 hours from the upload of this video, because we got some assorted pieces of Seahawks and Seahawks adjacent news that I want to go over before the end of the day. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, you generally want to push it out there as early as you can. So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about injury stuff, and we're going to be talking about three different teams here. Of course, one of those three teams is going to be the Seattle Seahawks because, I mean, that's our team, right? And I already kind of alluded to this, and for the most part, it's held true. McDonald hasn't told us that much. And honestly, at this point, it's Monday. He probably doesn't know that much yet. But he did tell us a little bit. So I want to go over some of the information that he gave us in his press conference earlier today. I feel like we learned a little bit. We didn't learn everything, but we learned some stuff. So according to Brady Henderson here, Mike McDonald spoke of Uchenna Nwosu, and he will return to practice this week. We're going to put him out there at some point this week and see how it goes. He should get some team activities here in the next couple days. So that's obviously a very good indication. Now, of course, McDonald did not say anything about how, oh, he's going to play this week. Probably because he can't realistically know if he's going to play this week or not, so that's totally fair. But Nwosu is going to practice this week, and we'll see where things go from there. Obviously, if he doesn't play this week, that would be very disappointing because we didn't IR him specifically so we could have him for this game. But we are going to need more information there, but this is definitely an encouraging sign. And it does indicate that there's a very good chance that Nwosu will play this week against the Detroit Lions. So happy with that. Uchenna Nwosu, very important part of this defense. I know the defense has played at an elite level so far this year, but Nwosu is going to be a big part of what we ultimately do. He also didn't really say anything about Big Cat or Byron Murphy. He said that Williams had a rib injury, but he didn't go any further than that. Some people have pointed out that Leonard Williams left the game and then went back in for a play and then came back out. So that does kind of indicate that maybe it's not that big of a deal. But it's also worth noting that he only played 5 snaps in that game. So it's not like he only left at garbage time, right? It's not like he left the game when it was over. The game was not really, I mean, the game felt like it was over in the second quarter on, honestly, but still, even then, like, he left the game before there was any kind of a sense that the game was basically already decided. And same goes for Murphy. Murphy played like 12 snaps and then pieced out of there. So realistically, McDonald probably doesn't know. I don't know what to make of this, really. I'm not sure. I don't know what to think of whether or not Williams and Murphy are going to be ready for next week. I would certainly hope so. I don't think we stand much of a chance to win that game if we don't have them, especially Leonard Williams because he's played so incredibly well so far this year. We also got a little update on Walker from Brady Henderson. McDonald said nothing about Walker today, but last week on Friday, McDonald did say that he was confident that Walker would be good to go this week, and he did practice a little bit on Friday, so I think that it's very reasonable to expect that Walker will be back this week. So we're definitely going to call that some good news here. We also got a little bit from John Boyle. May as well throw it in there because a lot of people are asking about Abe Lucas. Abe Lucas is eligible to come off the PUP after Monday's game. McDonald said he doesn't want to put a timeline on Lucas's return, which is not great. It's not surprising, right? I think that Brady Henderson said last week that Abe Lucas probably won't be back until mid-season, and I think that's probably the case. But don't expect Lucas to just go out there in week 5. I don't even think you should expect him by week 8, to be perfectly honest. I think this is going to be a bit of a slog. So it's bad news, but it's the news that we got. I'm not expecting Lucas to play until maybe week 9, week 10 with the way things are going. And honestly, I think there's a wide range of possibilities here that could include him not coming back until the very end of the year. So be prepared for anything here. Just try to be realistic about it. Excuse me. Okay, so that's basically it for Seahawks injury stuff. There are obviously other players that we want to hear updates about, like what's going on with Mafe, because Mafe is obviously less than 100%, even though it's unlikely that his injury is going to cost him any real playing time. We have a couple other players that are currently in a unknown state as of this point, so definitely want to hear more about what's going on with some of these other players. But those are the big ones, and those are the ones who are realistically at risk of missing more time, and the guys who we would really miss if we don't have them. Okay, so that's it for the Seahawks stuff. I wanted to wait to record this video for that stuff to come out at least. Although, by waiting as long as I did actually get the opportunity for another news dump concerning a division rival that might even be more interesting than what's going on with the Seahawks, because realistically, the Niners are the team in this division most likely to spring to life here. But first, I want to talk about our opponent in a week, the Detroit Lions. They've got some serious injury problems right now. Let's go through the list here. This is from Ari Mironov, My Sports Update on X. Marcus Davenport, one of their key pass rushers, one of their key defensive linemen or edge rushers, or however you want to qualify it, out for the season. That's kind of a big one. Marcus Davenport, good player. He was a good player for the Saints for a while. He's kind of like... He kind of makes me think of like Jadeveon Clowney, because he's not a guy who puts up monster stats. He's not a guy who puts up the big numbers, but he is a guy who is very effective and hard to deal with. So Marcus Davenport out for the season. Also out for this game is Derek Barnes, one of their linebackers. So he's going to miss significant time, which is obviously at least a week. So we're not going to see Derek Barnes this week for sure. So they're missing some very key pieces on that defensive front. So that's a big blow. Now, they did get some good news about Sam Laporta, who is day-to-day, could play, might not play, and Aleem McNeel, another one of their down linemen, also day-to-day. So those guys could be okay, but they might not be. And if Sam Laporta is not out there, that's a big blow to that offense. And McNeel, he's not the most important player on that Lions defense by a long shot, but if they don't have other guys on their front, like Davenport and Barnes, then McNeel, like, is somebody they needed to lean on even more. Now they're not going to be able to do it. And Brian Branch, their stud second-year safety, concussion protocol, man. So if he's got a concussion from yesterday's game, there's no way he's going to be able to play against the Seahawks. And if he can't, and that's a big loss. That's a loss I don't think the Lions are going to be able to just fight their way through. Excuse me. So they have a very realistic chance here of being decimated on defense and a little bit hampered on offense. Because remember, they had a couple other things on that offense that were not right from, not offense, defense from the offseason. Like they're missing one of their cornerbacks that they were counting on this year. That Lions secondary is having some big problems right now. Aiden Hutchinson is bailing them out hardcore right now. Okay, so that's the Lions situation. They're probably a little less happy about things than we are. They're probably a little less happy about the injury situation than even the Seahawks. The Seahawks, it kind of feels like we're starting to come out of this. It feels like the stuff we have is going to be gone in the next handful of days, although we obviously need to see proof of that. Lions, it feels more like things are starting to add up a little bit, and they're not playing stellar football right now. The Lions are leaving a decent amount to be desired through the first month of the year. But we got to talk about the Niners, because I already made a video earlier today where I was talking about how I feel like the Niners are going to be okay, and you just got to give them a little bit of time and everything's going to be good. Well, we got some updates today that throw that into serious question here. We got to talk about this. So Adam Schefter here has an update on Brock Purdy. Now, this isn't too big of a deal overall, but Brock Purdy has back soreness. The MRI came back negative, but he will be considered day-to-day. And what did I say in the earlier video? The one thing that could maybe make the Niners throw in the towel on the season would be if their quarterback gets hurt. And Purdy, well, I mean, he's less than 100%, right? Back soreness now considered day-to-day. Like, that's not encouraging at all. And right now, they need Purdy to put the team on his back a little bit, because they don't have the all-pros at every position. He did a pretty good job of it against the Rams. I don't like his chances against a better defense, granted, but he's got a better chance of doing it than, anybody else on that team. They don't have Sam Darnold. They don't have Trey Lance anymore. They don't have that backup quarterback that they feel good about right now. So Brock Purdy, there's that. Javon Hargrave is out for the season. Now, he's been kind of a disappointment since they signed him from Philly a couple years ago, but he was definitely part of that defensive rotation up front. He was definitely part of what made them so fearsome up front. And we know how good he is because of how good he was in Philadelphia. So, a couple games in, they've already lost him for the whole year. That's a big blow, regardless of the fact that he wasn't necessarily living up to his contract all the way. But um that's another level, right? Like, that's okay, that's a big loss. But here's maybe the big one. Christian McCaffrey is seeing a specialist in Germany regarding his Achilles tendonitis. So we got to start wondering here. What's up? What are we looking at here? What's going on here? Is he just gonna not play again? Is he not playing again for a few months? Is he going to miss most or all of this season? Is this going to be some career-altering injury right after he signed the big extension? Like, what are we talking about with Christian McCaffrey now? Like, I think now is the time where, as a Niners fan, you got to start to panic a little bit. It was bad enough that you were going to miss him for these first several games of the year, but now you have to start wondering, like, is there some deeper problem where maybe he doesn't see the field again this year, or maybe he's never the same again? What is he going to be when he comes back? So this is starting to pile up here, man. And yeah, the Niners, they're a lot less happy about injury stuff than the Seahawks are right now. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Another video coming later tonight.